Yeah, what do you recommend for a guy who's, let's say, not good with the phone? They would rather get more up close and personal in your face. What type of dates do you recommend for like the first date?
Okay, so guys, I like to set the mood. So I don't do dates during the day. Man, you can take some of the best pickup artists. The chance of you smashing a chick at 1 p.m. on a Sunday is slim, right? So you want to set the mood. So try to get it as the sun's going down or the sun is down. Number one. Number two, pick a place in your budget. Now, I live in LA. Places like LA, Miami, New York, Vegas, you're going to pay a pretty penny for a cocktail. I'm talking at a nice bar here in LA, 15 on the low, 20 on the high for a cocktail. When I visited Orlando, Florida, I got a vodka cranberry for $7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for some of you guys that live in smaller cities, you can afford to take her to a bar and spend 14, $15 with tip and get two cocktails. Now, personally, I don't like the whole thing of getting drunk. Personally, I wouldn't even drink because I'm not a drinker, but I'll have one. It's not going to kill me. I like drinks because it's funny. Girls on TikTok, they'll make videos about to be on a first date be like, and they'll grab the bottle themselves in their house and start chugging. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
surprised. I'd say at least 30 to 40% of girls I've been on first dates with probably had a drink before because they're nervous.
Right.
Me, I do this all the time. So it's like, it's nothing. But to them, they're nervous.
Right.
So grabbing a drink can help her nerves, your nerves, just to chill, right? So I personally like to do drinks. Now, if you're an activity guy, you like to do bowling or you like to do mini golfing or you're an arcade guy, those are also fun. You can easily do a Dave and Buster's date for like $30. You spend 20 on games and like get a drink or two, maybe spend 40, 50. But I like grabbing one drink. And also, guys, on first dates, try to go to places where you can sit closer to your date. So I know all the places in my area that have couches are bar stools. Bar stools are sitting right next to her. Couches are sitting right next to her. So you can make your move and break that barrier versus going to a table where she's across from you, where it's a little bit harder to break that barrier and get a little intimate.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. See, that's why I like you. You out here for real. You out
Yes,
here for
sir.
real. Now,
Yes, sir.
what are some things that a guy should not do for a first date? What are some absolute no nos?
Yeah, man. So I definitely avoid places where you can't talk. So this is why I'm against dinner dates. So on dinner dates, this is what happens.
What?
The for the first day, I'll explain.
Yeah.
So the first day, it's all about conversation. Honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
now when me and my main chick hang out, we don't even gotta speak. She can be on her phone, on in my bed. We can just be chilling. We ain't gotta talk. We already did that part. So on the first date, you're having dinner, right? You're talking like this. So where you say you're from again? Oh, I'm from Minnesota. Yeah. So it's just back and you can't have a freaking conversation. You're eating, you're drinking. If anything, I like to do like things that are quick, like a sushi, like a little bite and you're done. But if you're having, chicken and all types of stuff and noodles and you're slurping and making noise, it's just not ideal. So because it's hard to get to another person because you're mostly speaking the whole night like this. You don't want to smack them with food in their face.
Mm-hmm.
I avoid that. I avoid a dinner. Number two, I'd avoid a movie theater because again, you can't speak during it. Number three, okay, feel her out, but I'd avoid your place for the first date simply because you don't know this girl. This girl could be trying to steal, rob you. Let's just avoid the first interaction at your
At your
place.
plate, at your crib.
I think the fourth thing a guy can not do for the first date and avoid is don't text her the day of, are we still on? It's a question, right? I would much rather say, yo, looking forward to seeing you tonight, implying you guys are meeting up. Okay.
Gotcha.
So avoid that question of are we? Just say, looking forward to seeing you tonight. Imply
Right.
that you are. Also, clean your freaking car. Let me tell you something about girls. Even when they walk into your place, they're like analyzing. Are there dishes like everywhere? Like her brain is just scanning. They go into your bathroom. They're looking under the seat. Like they're scanning for everything. When they get into your car, make sure there's no shit in the cup holders. Make sure when she sits down in the seat, there's not freaking McDonald's wrappers and cans all down by her feet. clear out the back seat, just throw everything to the trunk. Just start there. Just get everything from the car, just put in the trunk or the trash can for now.
Right.
And make sure your car smells fine. Make sure it doesn't reek of weed or there's bottles of alcohol everywhere, because she's most definitely judging you. So that's like some things I can say off the bat. How about yourself? What are some things guys should kind of avoid?
Movies. I give anybody pushback on that dinner date shit. Listen, I'm different though, man. I'm a different type of breed.
Okay.
I got way more coochie on first dinner dates than I have any other dates. But
Okay.
that's because I understand like food, and I know what food does. I know the type of moods to have. I know the type of conversations. And I've been doing this for a long time. Now it's nothing. It ain't gonna be nothing extravagant. It's gonna be, it ain't gonna be Applebee's, but it ain't gonna be no Cheesecake Factory or no shit like that. But
So I'll
that's
say
just
that.
me.
Gotcha.
That's just
Yeah.
me.
So let's talk about it then. So here's my mindset of the dinner date as well. So not only from my experiences, been the conversation been kind of awkward because we're both just talking like this, but don't you think when some girls eat, they feel bloated, which means they don't feel comfortable getting naked, or is that like a
Gotcha.
misconception? Okay.
Gotcha. You got to watch out for the cheesy shit, like
Okay,
the gassy
there's a
shit. Nah,
game
for
to
real though.
this.
You got to watch out for the gassy spots.
Okay.
But I will say, and this is back when I used to drink too. I will say, I have closed more on dinner dates, first dates on dinner dates than any other type of date, whether it's the activity shit or whatever. Because again, I've always been, and I always also had like, maybe it was the status or the up here to have your shit together type of shit.
Yeah.
And I know how to talk. I know how to do this. So that's why I would push back, But I tell guys now, you got to do all that. Do drinks or take a walk on the river walk or something fly that's cheap. You don't really necessarily have to do dinner.
Okay.
But if a guy when guys say don't do dinner dates, I'd be like, oh wait, Doc, I have a different experience. But some other things that I would say not do, the movies, definitely not movies. Be careful with your house. I used to never really take women to my house. I would get a hotel room instead. I just don't like weird people in my house, bro. Or around my spot, unless I talk. If we talk and we vibe. But if you submit on an app and I just like, hey, come over and you come, I'm straight. I'm already like, why you coming anyway? I got my gun and all type of shit because this is kind of weird.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make sure your car is clean. The same things you said, man, especially that movie shit. The movies is probably the most. I've never had success with no movies, and I learned that when I was young. The movies.
So what I think most guys want to know, and a big question I get is, how do you then go from the dinner date? How do you get her back to A, your spot, or B, the hotel? Because that's where guys, that's the moment of truth, is asking her to these second locations where she knows this is where the smashing. So go on. So explain that. I'm curious.
So with me, what I do is I typically talk about games, Uno, or movies, or you talk about this shit during the date. You good at Uno? I'll kick your motherfucking ass. Early in the day.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I'll smash you. Connect Four, whatever you do,
Yeah.
or movies. Oh, you seen this shit? You basically want to look for windows of, I like to call it, there's this, when a woman is attracted to you, there's a window. I call it the window of opportunity, where she looks at you and she won't say no to nothing. It's this googly eye where she's looking at you and she got the doe eyes. You ever seen this look? A lot of guys don't know what this means. This means go in for the kill. You can say, when a woman is looking at you like that, you can say, let's go rob a bank, and she'll do it. But with that, I'm like, okay, well, what we doing? What you want to do? Let's go back to my crib. A lot of the times they ain't gonna, they ain't gonna push back. And it's not gonna be like, oh, what you doing? It's just gonna be like, okay, cool, because they wanted to do it anyway. But if they do, be like, oh, for what? So I could beat your ass in Uno. We can have some drinks and I can kick your ass in Uno, and then you go from there. It's just like, well, what are you doing after this? Let's go back to my crib. Go back to your crib to do what? Play Uno, or watch movies, or the shit closing. I want the night's still young.
Got you.
A lot of things. Let me give you guys a little. I know this about you, but let me throw this in there.
Of course.
what I do, right? And this is, I don't talk about this publicly, but what I do is when I set up a date, I kind of like want to get the commitment that I got you all night. So it's not like, oh, let's go on a date from 8. I tell them I need you for the whole night. Block off your whole night for me. You understand what I'm saying? Versus, oh, let's meet me at 7 and then we'll chill for a couple minutes and see how it goes. Nah, I want the whole night. So I do that typically before. Now, that's some shit that I ain't never said publicly.
Okay.
That's some shit for the back end. But yeah, that's typically what I do, bro.
Okay. So one thing I do with guys is you have to. So what you do is very dope. You talk about something that you have at your crib, a Connect Four, or whatever the case may be, a movie. You kind of talk about that early. Then you bring it back when you go for the close.
If she asks for what?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do at Choker? They don't be like, for what? They just be like, oh, well, what we gonna do there? That's all.
Exactly.
Well, what we gonna do at your house?
Got you.
I'm gonna kick your motherfucking ass and Connect Four like I told you I was gonna do.
Exactly.
Boom.
So what I tell guys is this: you're gonna have to be assumptive. So this is what I do. You talked about you bring up something early in the day or even over text, and then you bring that back up at the end if she were to give you some small pushback about, oh, why are we going to your place, or why would I go there for? And you bring up the point you were talking about earlier. So what I do and I tell guys is this: you gotta be assumptive, and I'll explain that here in a second. So I'll lean back in my chair, right? I make this whole thing dramatic, and it's for a reason, because women love their emotions. That's why they love watching dramas and 50 Shades of Grey. So I get their emotions involved. I'll lean back a bit, and I'll go, so Jessica, 2 things. Either A, we can go home, right? I had a good time with you. Or B, next adventure. And they always say, well, what's the next adventure? I would say, all right, either, again, 2 options. I love giving you options. We can go to the next spot, you know what I'm saying? We can go to a view spot or, something like that. I say the next spot. Or B, we can go back to my place, watch a movie, eat some frozen pizza, and chill there. And I give, and then she'll sometimes say, well, what do you want to do? Well, obviously, I'd love to go back to my place. It's comfortable there. It's warm. It's comfortable. Let's go back there. And that's usually how it goes. So that's how I do it. I say, hey, either A, we can just go home right now. It's all good. I had a good time with you. Or B, we can go on the next adventure. And then they usually always say, well, what's the next adventure? I say, hey, we can go to another spot, or we can just go back to my place and this is where it's warm, it's comfortable. We can have some pizza. That's where I bring up some food. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
always have some food at the crib.
Yes, that definitely helps some snacks. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I do, and that's where my conversion rate comes in. I gave her the option, and she chose, this one. So the home option. That's what I do. Tends to work pretty well. And let me ask you this. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. What is now, do you believe in going for a move on the first date, like a kiss or having sex, or you just...
what? Hell yeah. Why not? Shit.
So go on.
It just depends on the vibe, though. Like, it just depends on the vibe. I'd see what the hug like, but I always, what we doing after this? What you want to do after this? But again, I try to get them for the whole night. Now, a lot of times women be like, oh, well, I only got a couple hours. I got to pick up my kids, or I got to do this, or I got to work in the morning. So whatever. So, but we'll again, I try to get them for the whole night. I need the whole night, our whole night mine. You need to dedicate the whole night to me.
Yeah,
so
man.
That already be kind of set up, but I always go for what I know the first time.
Yeah.
But it just depends on her vibe, how I do it. But I'm always gonna ask you, well, what you doing after this? What you trying to do after this?
Because AMS, again, listened to a lot of this content when I was young. He talked about not even going for on the first date, and he explained his reasons as to why. But for me, I don't care. There's a lot of times where I thought there was going to be another time, and there was not another time.
Man, listen.
Yeah.
That is the quickest way to fumble a bag, especially in today's times. If a woman is feeling you, and a lot of times a woman will be feeling you, you don't know it, because a lot of women have learned to conceal their emotions.
Oh, poker face like crazy. Yeah.
So they have a poker face, and they be dying that you ask them. A lot of the times, man, guys don't go for the clothes, and then they get ghosted. The woman say, well, I'm going to just go find somebody that know what he doing, because you got to think, the woman that fucking spent all day getting ready, found matching bra and panties, she shaved and took 4-5 hours to get ready just for the date, and then she get there and you don't close, you'll never see her again. You understand? So
Yeah,
I
I
always
much
go
rather
for
go.
first.
Yeah, I always go for the close because it's better to go for it and get rejected and go back to your room like, damn, what if?
Right.
It's actually a quick story. Match with this girl on Hinge. Her conversation with me is kind of shitty. Get her number. We go out, have a good time. Here's the funny part. As I'm dropping her off, she goes, she's kind of chunty. She has that like thick Mexican American accent. She's like, "You're so annoying." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I just wish you were more aggressive." I'm like, "What you mean?" She was like, "I'm not gonna go back to your place." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, let's go." So it's like
Yeah.
she pushed
Yeah.
it, and I fucked shit out of her. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes these girls they want you to make that move, and how it works is sometimes guys want to play the nice guy so bad. But here's the thing: the nice guy and the bad boy both want the same thing. We both want pussy.
Right.
One's gonna ask for it, and then not directly, but one's gonna
Right.
ask, "Hey, come back to my place." Then one guy is gonna be like, "Oh, well, I want to respect her." Man, some of these girls don't even want
No
respect. They want to get
respect.
disrespected.
They don't want respect. They want dick.